And here we are, Coach Jose Castellanon, a very, very tough game, a tough loss at the end of the night. But, Coach, let's talk about what the lessons learned were tonight.
Can't turn over the ball. That's it.
And, again, preparations continue on. You're into the, as they say, the nitty-gritty time. It's some big games left, and then it's going to be playoff time. Your thoughts on composing the team and getting them back on the field for the next game?
Well, you know, we're always going to play hard. That's just the nature of this team. That's the nature of me, and they reflect me. And so we're going to get back to work tomorrow. We'll lift hard, and we'll watch Bell film. I don't even know if we're going to watch a lot of this game.
Okay.
I'll share it out to them. They can watch it on their own. I told them to remember how they feel tonight, and that's all I want them to take away from it.
And, Coach, just a very, very important game for both schools, and still two divisions, but now becoming more and more acquainted with each other. The rivalry starting to set in. But tonight, the Bulldogs had you at first, and you came back and made your statements, and then towards the end, things just got a little, how would you say, the turnovers came up.
Yeah, you know, we're probably a little bit more excited than we should have been to play them. Mm-hmm. Like we said, Eastern League's real tough. Certainly the chasm between us isn't there anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, I didn't think they were the better team. Sure. I thought we were both, you know, an even keel. Certainly I feel like we lost this game more than they won it. But they do a good job. You know, I wish them well. I'm sure they'll do well in the playoffs.
And, Coach, very quickly then, you just, like you said, you may or may not look at the film, and this will be water under the bridge.
Film,
okay.
And we'll address some of the mistakes we made, but
okay.
It's not something I'm going to dwell on.
Exactly.
We got work to do.
Okay, and then finishing up the rest of the season, you're going to be going to Bell. Mm-hmm. It's going to be on a Thursday night, correct? That's right. Next Thursday, and that's good. You know, the faster we get on the field and win, the better we're going to feel, and that's the first thing we're going to focus on tomorrow. Okay, getting that done. Coach Jose Castellanon, we won't keep you long because you have things to do and get the team ready for the next game.
All right.
Thank you, Coach. We'll see you. Now we're going to talk to Lavelle Thompson and Frank Gallegos, and here we go. Let's start with Frank. Check that. Lavelle Thompson, bringing you in here, son. And first of all, how you doing?
Really good, sir.
Okay, and I have to ask that question, although I know it's coming after a very, very disappointing and a tough loss, but then again, character gets built up because of losses like this and games like this. But you yourself carried much of the offensive weight tonight. Let's talk about how it was out there on competing tonight against Garfield.
We just need to complete passes and make the blocks on the run and no turnovers. That's about it.
You guys went into the locker room trailing, but you came back out and put some things together, and that was the rhythm the Rams are used to doing. You got involved in it. Tony Washington, Toro, everything seemed to be clicking.
Yes, sir. They was handing me the ball off, and we was completing the ball. That's how we scored, and that's about it.
And a lot of big plays were happening for the Rams until maybe right there at the end it got away just a little bit on the big turnover on the interception.
Yes, sir. It was too many turnovers, especially with not completing the ball and then throw a turnover. That's what make the offense put their heads down, but the defense stepped up and got us the ball back to try to go for it, but it was another turnover.
As I say, chances to win that were presented, but just couldn't make the game long enough.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Lavelle, you've had a tremendous season, and you're really the bolstering of this offensive unit here for Coach Castagnana and the Southgate Rams. Your thoughts on the season thus far?
Yeah, we just trying to capitalize from this game and learn from it. So when we start playoffs, it'll be better. We'll know what we're coming into.
Okay, you got Bell next week.
Yes, sir.
And then one more game after that, and then the end of the season, correct? Until playoffs.
Yes, sir. We're going to prepare for Bill tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. We're going to get an early CrossFit to get the soreness out and watch a little film.
Okay, and Lavelle, first time we've had you on camera here, we're going to talk about you academically. How things going here at Southgate for you, and your dreams and aspirations for going into college.
I have a 3.1 right now. I'm trying to get it to like a 3.5, and I'm trying to earn a scholarship. A D2 or a D1, but I'm trying to get into college to study something.
Okay, and some of your favorite subjects here at Southgate?
Science and English.
Okay. Well, you have a chance just to look at the film tomorrow, and then, as they say, you'll put it to bed, you'll water under the bridge, you're going to prepare for the next couple of games and finish up strong.
Yes, sir. We'll.
Okay. Taking a pause, you're going to be okay, though, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, leadership skills, and you're in the heart of a lion here for the Southgate Rams, the heart of a big ram. I better put it that way because you keep fighting all the way to the end.
Yes, sir. We just wanted to finish strong to show them that we wasn't going to give up. Even though we lost, we had to finish strong.
Okay. And Coach Castagnana told me that he doesn't seem to think that there is a big gap between the Division I at Garfield and Division II at Southgate. It's coming up very, very tight now.
Yes, sir. Even though we lost, we showed them that we was a powerhouse. We probably can play with them in D1, and we're a powerhouse D2.
Okay. Lavelle Thompson, we'll let you go. You got to get back to the locker room, get with family,
yes, sir,
and get ready for the next game. Okay? Thank you very much. Lavelle Thompson. Now we're going to speak with Frank Gallegos here. And Frank, how you doing tonight, Frank?
We had a tough loss, but hey, optimism. We're feeling pretty good.
And that says, this is the game of on the field is like the game of life as well. You guys are going to bounce back. There's no doubt about it. You will head into the playoffs, and it's now just rearranging, fine-tuning, and tweaking some of the things that went wrong tonight.
Most definitely. We had multiple mistakes. We just need to capitalize upon. Offense. We wouldn't. We had a couple issues, and defense. I really think we stepped it up tonight. We did fairly well, and I really think the next game we just got to step it up. We got to remember the feeling of this game, and I really think we're going to do exceptional next week.
And they say there's a cloud, and there's a silver lining in the cloud here because you guys will bounce back, as we know, as you know. There's a lot of confidence in this team here, but let's talk about some of the key plays in the game tonight, some of the things you were involved with on the field and what you did to really push them back on defense, which you did, and then give the offense a chance.
Sir, me and my defensive squad, we have multiple fourth goal line stops. Multiple fourth and short stops. I'm very blessed to be able to say that I contributed to most of those fourth down, third down stops, and we gave the ball back to the offense. Unfortunately we couldn't capitalize as we should, but you know what, our team gave a hell of an effort, and I'm really proud of my team no matter what.
And you guys really rallied together because there was one of your players that could not play tonight.
Right.
Okay, and that was Jonathan Estrada,
Jonathan Estrada, that guy's amazing. He's my brother since we were babies. I love the guy with all my heart, and he's dying to get back on the field, and he's going to do exceptional next week. He's going to be very hungry, and he's just one of a kind player.
Okay, and Frank, let's talk about your academics pursuits here at Southgate because it's preparing you for college, and you got to like what you do here because you do want to get into college and maybe on a scholarship and continue to play. Correct?
Yes, sir. Definitely. I've received multiple letters from different schools. Division I, Division II. I'm really grateful and very humbled to receive letters from great universities, and I have a 3.2 or 3 right now. So I'm really I'm heading toward that 4.0. I really want to have a great academic and athletic scholarship. Go to a great Division I school, Pac-12, wherever it is. I'm looking forward to the future in life, and God first.
Okay, and let's talk about some of the favorites subjects you like here.
I guess maybe science, math, because it's challenging. So I love challenges, and I always like to overcome them.
Okay, and Frank Gallegos again playing his heart out tonight. He's left it right here on the field of play, and that's what Coach Casagrande asked of the unit, and you guys delivered.
Yes, sir, definitely. We're very blessed to say, we got to be out here and play. The football is not a sport for everybody, and I really feel we executed the defense very well. Offense, we made a couple mistakes. We're going to step it up next week, and we should be back on the field like the Southgate Rams.
Frank, you're heading into, like they said, the nitty-gritty part of the season here. A couple of more games left, and then the playoffs, the second season. Let's talk about you personally, some of the goals you had when Coach Casagrande put the team together back in summer. Here we are in fall looking for the playoffs, but some of the goals that you had for yourself and that you may have reached and exceeded.
This team is very special. We're a very great squad. We work hard every single day, and I feel we've achieved so much as a team because at first we weren't clicking, and to know that we have a family now. It's not. I don't look at it as a team. We have a family. We started right after unfortunately the Southgate Rams lost last year in the championship. We get back to work in January. Starting past leagues. We did everything we could to get back to this point right now so we can be the strongest team that we can. And I feel very accomplished. I'm very proud to say that I'm part of the Southgate Rams, and I love this team with all my heart.
Okay, and Frank, last question, the highlight of the season for you. Any particular game or games where your presence in the field maybe turned things around or led the team to a win?
I want to say maybe I really say I like my performance this week.
Okay.
We had a great defensive stop. Roosevelt, that was my first Division I opponent I've ever faced in my life, and I felt I executed very well. I had about 10 tackles and a forced fumble. I think I'm doing pretty good. Just got to step it up next game, and I'm just humbled to be here.
Continue to lead on and continue to do well.
Thank you so
on
much,
the field
sir.
of play. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so
Frank
much.
Gallegos, and we're now going into the, as they say, the final 2 games of the season, and then it's going to be playoff time. We're going to come back and follow the Southgate Rams as far as we can possibly go with them. Possibly Garfield again. We'll see them and other teams here in our coverage for East LA Sports Scene. So go to our website at eastlasportscene.com, and you find our weekly roundup and our highlights and just things that we're doing here to help our student athletes get to that next level. So for Eric Sarney, Rico Cabrera, thanks for watching this edition, the special highlight edition of East LA Sports Scene covering the Southgate Rams hosting the Garfield Bulldogs. We'll see you on our next edition of East LA Sports Scene.